Hello and welcome to the Formula Forza Pre-Race Podcast. I'm your host, Derek James, and as always, I am joined by two-time Formula Forza Drivers Champion Ryan McDowell. To be honest, it was back when everybody sucked. Sorry, Hunter, but he was two-time Drivers Champion. Doesn't matter, he sucked.
I think it was because he was the admin. He was bending the rules.
Yeah. And also, I'm joined by current leader in passing points
Ever.
but also known as the kid who never practices, Brad James, gamertag Douse Baggies.
Second to last in points, I may add.
Second to last in points, but he has the most passes.
Feeling good about that one, huh?
Yeah.
All right, we got a good show for you guys today. We're going to do a quick recap. Quick recap of the last round at Long Beach, the SoCal Grand Prix. We're also going to have a preview of the upcoming round in England at the Silverstone, a.k.a. the British GP. But, Ryan, do you care to take it away here with our recap of the SoCal Grand Prix?
Absolutely. Okay, so first we had qualifying. Again, this is... Man,
You have to stop every time I say something.
He's doing such a good job. He's like, it's a show. So anyway, all right. So qualifying for the SoCal GP. I think leading up to this, everybody can agree that this was going to be the most challenging track of the season, with no runoff. I mean, I think we can count on one hand how many turns have runoff, and I think there's like three. So yeah, seriously, it was going to be rough, and whether you really pushed for it and you hit the wall and there wasn't enough time to set another lap, because it literally takes like an entire minute to go through pit lane, it was going to be interesting for sure. And when qualifying came around, what I found interesting is that Derek James over here, who had just been on the podium, gets knocked out in Q1, 13th qualified.
On purpose.
I can see that a little bit.
Take my strategy, buddy.
Yes, so I see...
We're on the same team.
Hey.
I see that Jet in the back four places. I see 3 Jet names back there. So I got to think that was a little bit of strategy to stay back, hang back a little bit.
We did tell Boros. He just kind of
And it didn't work at all.
Because he ended up wrecking into me anyways.
Yeah, so it just
From
goes...
7th, so it actually was working, actually. I was at 7th when I
So not at all. It kind of worked.
It worked about halfway.
7 laps.
7 laps. All right, well, we'll get to what happens in the race in a little bit. So qualifying was pretty interesting. Usual faces in there. We had In Flames take Q1 best time at a 102.833. Pretty impressive time. I didn't think really anybody was going to get into the 102 times in qualifying. You thought so.
Did he?
I'm sure he did. But I thought it would be very close, whether anybody would push that hard in qualifying. Maybe Q1, because there's a little bit more time there.
And
but anyway,
there's no consequences.
Right.
If you still set that time.
Right. Impressive time from TLR Eclipse up there, 103.9 in qualifying Q1. You could see that people were hanging back a bit. They weren't quite sure what to expect in qualifying. So the knocked out in Q1, we had five people. Cubit was unable to qualify with us, so he was out. So we only had 15 qualifiers. We had Slamont 24. We had Ferrari Fanatic 9 from Jet. That Derek James in 13th knocked out. Uncool Firestorm 14th, and our very own Brad James knocked out in 15th.
But you know why?
With a flaming lap of 107.
Because he didn't practice.
You know how much of a setup I had on there?
None.
A whole none.
That's wise strategy.
Look how it got him. Look where it got him at.
Indeed.
We're exactly where I wanted to be.
So the top 10 then moved on for 10 minutes of Q2, where we saw In Flames end up taking pole 102.863, and we saw TLR Law making his debut, grab second, so still front row then for TLR. That's pretty impressive stuff. 103.2, BTR Sparky comes in third. Bryce MW, a little bit of a surprise that he wasn't as far up. He did have that 5% power restriction, but probably a little mitigated at Long Beach. Mm-hmm. He was fourth. I ended up surprisingly in fifth. With a 103.5. So In Flames still the only one with a 102. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Fresh Cuban Bread Then 6th, Laker Hater 7th, TLR Eclipse 8th for TLR. And DZ Legends Blade for PLM was 9th. Edited Biscuit, a little bit of a surprise that he was 10th, I think. I expected him sort of top 5.
But you also heard beforehand that he didn't practice like at all. He pulled a Brad, basically.
A little bit. I heard that he didn't have as much time as he wanted to get in on practice, and that's unfortunate because he certainly has the talent. But his Q2 time is hilarious. A 107 again. I find that really hilarious. 3 seconds slower than 9th in Q2. So he really didn't want to be that far up in the pack. Maybe part of his strategy.
I think maybe
he
kind of accidentally made Q2.
Perhaps that.
I didn't really talk to him, but it kind of seems like after Q2, he kind of accidentally made it in there. He was probably like, crap.
Right. So, what did you guys think of qualifying here? I didn't feel like it was really as bad as I thought it was going to be. Because I think I approached Q1 a little bit cautiously. I held back some. I didn't even get... I was like a 104.3, so I was nowhere near. I was a second off of my fastest time.
But that was also because everybody else was kind of sandbagging. So as you probably watched your place in the session, you didn't really drop down much. You're like, all right, I don't have to go that quick, so I'm going to lay back a little bit and take it easy.
Yeah, I was also trying to keep my distance from some of those walls, like, turn 6, that left-hander with the big... The huge jutting out wall. Mm-hmm. I was worried about hitting that, pushing too hard in qualifying, but it ended up working out for me getting into Q2, but you guys' strategy seemed to at least play out the way you wanted it to in qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so then the race. Brad, why don't you tell us about your race, and then we'll go to Derek, and then we'll go to me.
It lasted less than 10 laps.
In a 50-lap race.
In a 50-lap race, so that was less than a fifth.
Good for you.
For all those maths
Good for you.
people
You
out
can
there.
do maths.
I know. I did not have my Xbox on a hardwire on the same exact network that he was on.
Oosh.
So my connection quality was
Poor
at best, and it just seemed like it was lagging at the worst possible moments when someone was like right on my butt.
We did have some. We had like 3 or 4 pretty big lag
Gigantic
spikes.
lag.
Yeah, and they were all, but early in the race, the first 2 ones, those were the ones that I was in accidents in. So I got taken out by lag, and I just.
Well, you were up to 7th off the start. You probably got the best start.
I was
out
at
of anybody.
7th, as always. I was up to 7th, and
Then on your 7th lap. So 7 is kind of an unlucky number for you.
Good thing I'm
it's
not
lucky for everybody else.
Good thing I'm not number 7. This is number 6.
It's true.
But that's almost too close.
I know. I should
He's
back
playing
it
with
off.
fate.
I should back it off a little bit.
But you did probably get the best start out of anybody off the line at the race. Because if you noticed, everybody held back on the start.
Everybody
I did.
held
I
back.
passed like 4
wait.
people.
Everybody held back but Brian.
Mm-hmm.
So Laker Hater didn't hold back. Went right into the back of Hunter. It was initially a up for review item. There was a pretty big rear ending there into turn 1. Just sort of slid right into the back of Hunter. I don't know if he was watching other drivers because there was another incident there with Slamont and somebody else. They got spun around. And I don't know if he was just distracted or whatever, but went right into the back of Hunter, and you see the car kind of pop up.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yes.
I saw it.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, holy crap, from where I was sitting.
It was pretty impressive, really. So anyway,
I was actually kind of happy by it, too. I was like, yes.
Hunter ended up, TLR Eclipse ended up rescinding his request for review on that, just noting that everybody needs to be a little bit more cautious, in the first lap, really,
But
not
we'd
just
always
turn
predicted.
1. We'd always predicted.
We'd always
What
Use your words, Derek.
are you doing with your nails over there?
biting your nails.
Okay.
We'd always predicted that driving in traffic in this series was always going to be a bit hectic.
An issue.
So we had always kind of advised people to wait. If you're in a big group of cars, kind of ease off of it a little bit. Don't go in so hot into the corner. But
What is wrong with you? All right, so yeah, I agree though, and we
he
said
still
don't
went
go
in
too
hot.
wide.
Yeah, he still came in hot, and we still warned people to not go too wide through the first corner on the first lap, and into the second corner of the first lap, and they still did it anyways.
Yeah.
Brad and I even did it on the first lap, anyways.
What did we do?
We went
Went
too
too wide
wide
through
through the fountain on the first lap. After we had warned people with our little finger point,
You were
not do it.
like, don't do it.
We
But we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Then we ended up doing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that because in the race we're like, we did not do that right. Like, didn't do that right because we almost hit. We're like, oh.
Yeah.
Right.
We both had the back way off to go too wide through the fountain. We basically backed up like 7th through 10th
I
on
wasn't
that.
until 7th by then. I was up to like I passed 3 people before I wrecked out. So
Okay, so you what? You made it to lap 7 and then
I don't know if it was lap 7,
horrendous.
but 7 was on screen somewhere.
It was lap 9 because I had to pick
No,
that lap.
wait. What's up in the top right corner?
The time.
The time? Yeah.
7 minutes. You made it 7
No,
minutes.
no.
I think that's worse than 7 laps.
It kind of
It was 7th.
Brad,
7th. I was in 7th.
You were
place.
in 7th. That's probably what you saw.
I don't remember. It was
lap 9
first
because I had
10.
hit. It was
Okay.
lap
First 10.
9.
All right,
I
anyway.
could back you up because you hit me during the lag spike. It was lap 9.
No. I didn't hit you. You hit me. I was in front of you. It would be impossible if I'm in front of you
Brad,
for me to hit you.
On my screen, you were turned around backwards facing me.
That's a quality lag spike.
That
That's
is
a good lag spike.
that's healthy.
Yeah.
Really.
But it was lap 9. I can remember that because I had to pit that lap, and I remember thinking. I remember
Did
sitting there thinking.
so,
these
Did we
tires
say
are gonna
where
be
it
off.
happened at?
It was
right
at the
after
edge of-
fountain.
It was
It was
after
right
the
at the exit of the fountain. It took me 3.5 minutes to get to the pits.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, all right. So lap 9 or thereabouts, you had horrible. We'll call it transmission failure. Data transmission failure. All right. Anyway,
That wasn't planned.
that was Kevin. And then Brett. What went? So 3 minutes, huh? To get back.
Around 3 minutes to get back to the pits.
Good lord. All right. So
I had like 100% engine.
that is ridiculous. So you're going like 2 miles an
Yeah,
hour down the
yeah.
back straight. Okay. So Derek, then take over from there. How did your race go?
I didn't see anybody after that point
Like
because I had to
always.
pit so early. It put me on the opposite side of the track from the main group of people. I mean, I passed a couple people in the pits because of accidents, but other than that, the only person I saw was Flames. Basically, he came around, got it behind me. Right as he got it behind me, he does what he usually does when he comes up the edge of traffic late in the race. He goes in and pits, so he kind of stays out of the traffic. And I only saw him again like probably 5 laps before the finish, and he got around me. And then who was it? Sparky.
Oh, right,
Came up
right
behind
at the
me with
very
about
end.
3 laps left, and that's all I saw. I had to go 41 laps in those tires.
So you were running in the fateful 7th position right at the end of the race with your 5% power restriction. So you were already slated to drop your 5% power restriction with 7th, and then what was it you did? You decided to pull a gymkhana and drift around the.
I could feel it lap after lap going into turn 7 because that's like the
Wait, I didn't know about
second.
this.
That's like the second fastest corner on the track.
Yeah.
So you could feel it on entry because it's such a wide entry into the corner. I could feel it because as soon as you turned in, it was like the back end started stepping out. Then tires were getting pretty worn out because it's a street course and you
pitted
turn
ear-
in
right,
real-
and you
I
went in
pitted
early.
very early.
Yeah.
because I had to, and basically I was coming in. It was
Ken
about
Block.
it was the last lap actually,
Ken Block.
and I went in on entry, and basically the rear end just went. The car did one of these jobs. It was like completely side. It wasn't completely sideways. I pulled it back right as I hit exit of the corner.
But almost as much counter
But it was-
steer as you can get.
I was full lock the other way trying to get the car straightened out, but
Under
it was
control.
enough for Sparky to get around me on the last lap.
Right.
Derp.
So, yeah, that was still pretty good, though. I mean, you have to figure starting 13th with a 5% power restriction, you ended up 8th.
And I don't have a restriction anymore.
And you dropped your restriction. That's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And without that mistake, because that happened on, like, the last lap.
It was the last lap.
Yeah. So without that mistake, you would have been 7th. That would have
Yeah.
been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Really.
And I would have got rid of my power restriction in the first position. You could have got rid of it. I'd been like, yep, plan that.
Right.
I didn't plan it, but it kind of happened that way.
I need to do really good this race.
What is that?
I need to do really good this race.
This next race?
He's 3 passes behind me.
Yes. It's going to happen.
It's not.
All right. So my race was.
But here we go. Hold on. Derek's been
You're
in
going to interrupt us right now? for this?
35 races, and I've been in not 19. 33. So he's got 2 races on me.
So my race was, I mean, you can see it from the stream, my perspective, that I really did not have to wheel-to-wheel race hardly anybody. Right at the beginning, it was trying to stay as close as I possibly could to the leaders. Laker Hater pit fairly early, so he was... Oh, it was because of that collision with TLR Eclipse. Mm-hmm. He pit early. So I was trying to chase down Bryce, and then Laker Hater came in right between us, and I remember thinking, okay, that's Bryce. I'm actually catching him. Nope, it was Laker Hater the whole time. And so I get close, and I'm like, oh, crap. All right, so he's lapped down traffic. I don't want to get too close because then you get arrow wash, and there's only the 3 corners with runoff. So I just got as close as I dared and just kept following him around. And I think he made another mistake, and I got by. And then he was like kind of right behind me for a good portion of the race. But there really wasn't a wheel-to-wheel. It seemed like every time I was going around the pits, not every time, but most of the times I was going around the pit, there was somebody in the pits, other than Brad. I mean, it seemed like I was passing people, blue flag or whatever. There was only a couple times that I actually gained a position in the pit. I mean, everybody I did pass came from...
You didn't pass on track.
Right, exactly. Or they were in an incident on the side and I got around. It wasn't from like an overtake or something like that. So, a little bit, I don't know, lame that I get a podium position just from driving through consistency, but it's part of it.
That's what I did. What are you talking about? I didn't pass. I didn't pass anybody on track.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2 lamest drivers in Formula Forza. Lame and Wrongy McWrongpants.
Wrongy McWrongpants. Right. So yeah, I did end up on the podium then, which I was pretty happy about. Went from 5th to 3rd. Yet lame that I didn't really see any on track
But that
racing.
proves that consistency does pay off in this series.
It truly does. I was going to end up 4th, and then TLR Law made some mistake fairly late, just a couple of laps to go, and he had to pit again. And I got by while he was in the pits. So, yep, picked up another podium. I was pretty happy with that. But I think that puts me fairly high as far as
points?
Overall podiums. I know it puts me 3rd.
Passing me.
Yes.
I'll do it. I'm getting there. I'm there first. I'll be there first.
So, Brad, why don't you fill us in on what the standings look like after?
You have 14 podiums, and Alex P has 21. So.
21 podiums. Good
21
Lord.
podiums.
That guy is a little nuts. Oh, you know what that's from? Why he has 21 podiums? That's from V8 Supercars.
Yeah. Oh. Anyways, points. Yes. In first, In Flames, yet again, now has what percent power restriction? 10?
10% power restriction.
In second, Bryce MW also has 10% power restriction. I also may add, In Flames has won both races in capturing 1 pole, so he's got 221 points there. In third, 768. In fourth, that Derek James.
Only 6 points behind.
Yes. Yes.
If I finished 7th, it'd been even closer. And if you'd finished 5th, it would have been even closer.
Okay.
The funny thing is we're not even actually battling on track, and if we stay this close the entire time, it's kind of
boring.
Oh, a bit.
Lame.
There will be.
No. Lame.
There's going to be a battle, I think, this weekend. We'll see how it goes. This is the podcast of the grunts is really what this is.
We could do the whole thing just like, and you'd be like,
Right. It's sort of like Hodor from Game of Thrones. It doesn't really say anything.
Don't talk about Game of Thrones to him. He's never watched it.
That's all.
Ever.
Well, okay. Well, there's this guy that doesn't really talk, and everything he says is Hodor. So he's just Hodor. It's like a question mark. You understand that he's asking a question. You don't know.
So it's like the word dude. You could use, or like bro. You could like
You're
have
right.
a whole conversation.
So anyway,
Brett,
we're
doing a
totally
podcast.
right. This is totally a different thing. But
Game of Thrones. Yes.
So anyway,
welcome to Game of Thrones cast. I'm your host, Derek James, a.k.a. Derek James, son of Greg James, son of Cyril James, heir to the throne of
Formula Forza.
Yes.
Okay. So 5th. Who's in 5th?
The man who hates the Lakers. Laker hater. I don't know if that's...
It is, actually.
It is? Okay.
You just grunted.
In 6th, DZ Legends Blade.
A.K.A. Carson Pittman.
We're not... He doesn't hate... Does he like... He must hate the Lakers, too. And then we have Subdriver Fresh Cuban Bread.
That's because he's participated in 2
In
races.
7th, and he's the Subdriver. That's all I'm saying. I'm a
pretty
permanent
awesome.
driver, and I'm in 16th. All I'm saying.
You've also shown up to 1 race, and he's shown up to 2.
High fives
And
on
he
that,
finished-
and
and
you retired out.
Yeah. Still got
High fives on that one.
High fivesies.
That's pretty weak. High
Yeah,
five
but we have
as
the
well.
mic right
Yeah,
there.
In 8th, we have an edited biscuit.
And edited biscuit.
Yeah, proper English. In 9th, we have BTR Sparky.
That's disappointing for him. I would have thought higher up, and I think he's gonna make
BTR as
it
a
up.
whole.
They're gonna make it up though. I mean, they are strong drivers. It's just they've sort of had crap luck so far. So we'll see how this goes.
In 10th, Slamont 24. In 11th, TLR Eclipse, also lower than
Surprisingly
I expected it to
low, considering how fast he is.
No doubt, that dude is fast. He's kind of gotten screwed first lap both races though.
He always gets screwed in every race. Like,
This is true.
in 12th, the Uncool Firestorm, there's no the there. I just called him that. In 13th, Jack Shy and TLR Law, the one named Jack. In 14th, BTR Snaky Snacky. In 15th, Ferrari Fanatic 9. In 16th, myself. And in 17th, Qubit. Moving to the team championship here. In first, Ryan's team, Scuderia Ferrari.
Team we cheat.
Yeah, team we bend the rules. What? Also in first.
Team we make the rules, so we bend them anyways.
Team in first in the fitting with the Ferrari, by the way.
Yeah, fitting.
Or do you want to continue with your...
No.
Because if you were like Caterham, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, why are they finishing so good?
Okay, so Scuderia Ferrari has not won a team championship before.
Doesn't matter. They still cheat.
Fernando is faster than you.
In second place...
How many times you said multi-21, Ryan?
Too many. He didn't concede, damn it. He didn't... It was like lap 40, and I was like, Flames, multi-21, multi-21, confirm
Ryan-
that you got the message.
Ryan is faster than you.
And he was like, I did not get the message. Switching off radio. Must be defective.
Must be defective.
Right.
In second, Leclerc Mercedes. In third.
Because of fresh Cuban bread, mind you.
No,
that's
McLaren
not
Mercedes.
McLaren
no.
Mercedes.
That's
I'm
Bryce.
talking about
That's TLR,
TLR.
jackwagon. In
Oh, in
third,
third.
because of their sub-driver. They're in third.
in third, Fresh Cuban Bread.
Brady, you sit up.
In fourth, Pittman Lamont Motorsport, PLM. Sorry. And fifth,
Professional. All right.
in
this
fifth,
podcast
Bosch
is
Tech
just
Racing.
awful.
In sixth, Jet Motorsport. In seventh, Jet Lotus. And in eighth, British German Racing, looking to do well in their co-home race.
Indeed.
Their co-home race.
Co-home race. That sounds like a Spanish word.
Co-home race.
Co-home race. In first, in the Manufacturer Championship, don't even need to mention it because they're cheating. In second, Mercedes. In third,
We should be in first in the
Porsche.
Manufacturer Championship.
In fourth, Duesenberg. In fifth, Honda. In for Honda or Duesenberg.
Duesenberg.
In sixth, Lotus, and in seventh, BMW.
All right, we're going to move on here real quick after Brad did the points for 15 minutes.
You guys get 15 minutes. I get 15 minutes. All I'm saying.
The British Grand Prix preview. Coming to you this year from the Silverstone circuit. That's actually updated now. The games are actually doing the real GP circuit.
Yes, the arena.
Hey, the last one we did, the one we did before is still real, Derek.
Yes, but
real.
we're using the current track that they use in Formula One.
Indeed.
Our length here, we're going to be doing 50 laps again. But our track length is 5.13 kilometers, and that's about 3.19 miles.
It'll take
Our
6
average
hours.
lap here on the website, mind you, says our average lap is going to be a 132.5. That's couldn't be more wrong.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is I took these from
The preseason testing.
preseason testing. So that what's interesting about that is it shows how much. I mean, we were already, let's say, top 300 drivers when the preseason started. When the season started, we were top 200 drivers. And the 132.5, That's not even going to be the cutoff for qualifying.
That's good. My idea for cutoffs would be mid 130s or high 130s into the 31s possibly.
I think a 31 flat.
Because basically right now on the setup that I've been driving for about 3 days, I'm already into the mid 130s, and I've been driving I've done maybe 40 laps.
I think you'll make Q1 cut then.
I've done maybe 40 laps, and I'm already into the 130 mids.
I was looking at how the times were stacking up from everybody's fastest times, and it looks to be about a 131 flat is going to be the cutoff, which means for me, it's going to be scary whether I'm going to make the Q1 cutoff with a 5% or not, because it's difficult.
How do you think Flames is going to do it with a 10? There are so many long straightaways at this track.
He won't get pole.
Well, his fastest lap was like a 28 something right now.
He won't get pole. He'll be in the 130s.
The power restriction?
No, that's without. His fastest ever lap was like a 128.7 or something like that.
He'll be in the 130s with his 10%.
So he'll be mid-pack probably in qualifying.
I think so.
So that opens
Maybe
up,
in the race.
So that opens up for somebody, i.e. Bryce, to get their first pole. Except Bryce has got a 10% restriction too, so he's not going to do that either.
He does. You know who I think it'll
probably be Mitch.
Maybe
he got it pulled already, so it's not.
So
maybe I think Jack. I think we're looking at maybe
he's got
Jack.
the pace to do it.
Yeah.
If he shows up.
Are you expecting him not to be
if
there?
Fresh Cuban Bread is in the lineup again for TLR, they should just make him a permanent driver in their lineup.
Oh, is he sitting in for
Hunter?
No. Is he sitting in for isn't Mitch missing this one? No? My
Not that I've heard.
Okay.
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh, Jet Motorsport hasn't been informed of our driver.
No, I don't know. I thought there was a seat open, and either way, I'm sure.
If he ends up taking that seat, I'll be completely surprised. Fresh Cuban Bread for Jet Motorsport.
I did not authorize this.
Right.
Mashing keys.
Well, I would want him on my team. Fresh Cuban Bread is pretty quick.
I authorize that.
Right. Okay, so anyway, other predictions in qualifying? If not Jack, who's next best? Because Bryce, I think we gotta assume if Flames isn't doing it, we gotta assume that Bryce is gonna have the same issues and be in somewhere in the 130s.
Eclipse is slower than I am, so I don't know what his growth's gonna be over the next
I don't know
week.
about that.
I've been driving with him the past like 5 or 6 times I've driven Silverstone. Like the 30 laps I've done it, like the 40-ish I've done at Silverstone. I've been with Eclipse, and he seems like he's not putting it together well this week. Everything's not lining up properly for him.
Okay. Well, then
He may have gone faster, but he's just having trouble this week.
I predict
That you're going to be
that was sandbagged for you. That Eclipse is going to be in the 129s pretty regularly, very low 130s. I think that's where he's at.
He invites Jet Motorsport just to make it seem like we're going. So Boros and I are in that lobby going all out right now, trying to drive our times down, and he's just like,
Derek, you just got punked.
Because he drove a 5% restriction with me and landed a 130.5.
I like how he sits there and does it with you properly, but as soon as he gets in there with Jet Motorsport, he's like,
Yeah.
got a sandbag.
He's like,
Bubble pipe? Mm-hmm. Right. We'll see what happens with that. But I think TLR is going to be very strong here at Silverstone. I predict top 5 for both of them. It's provided Hunter doesn't just get totally annihilated into
or lag out.
I guess it's going to be turn 3, won't it? Because turn 1 is you can go several wide there. Turn 2 you can go several wide. It's turn 3 and turn 4 that you got to be like, sweet Jesus. Do you break for this
how do
corner?
you be like sweet Jesus?
You got to be like sweet Jesus.
Sweet Jeebus.
Be very pure. That's all. I don't know.
Lord Jesus to fire.
Okay, so seriously, you didn't answer. If not Jack, who's going to get pole?
I haven't seen anybody else drive. I've been watching the times this week. I've only been focusing on what I'm doing.
BTR, home track, maybe Sparky.
Possibly. Maybe Legends. Maybe he's going to pull something out of him because he's been finishing relatively well.
Legend, Carson has been doing.
He
very
might
well.
have something.
He
might be up there.
He could. Laker Hater also very quick.
Mm-hmm. I assume he'll be up in the top 5.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, race predictions. Who's gonna retire first here? I agree.
This guy.
You suck.
Not helping my team points at all.
I don't know. That is definitely you can't predict that. But the predictions on the win here. Where do you think Flames is gonna finish? You think he'll still be on the podium with the 10%?
No. If he is, I'll be astounded.
It'll be really shocking for me if he's still on the podium. In the next race, Road America is not going to help him at all.
It doesn't matter. Whatever happens here, if he finishes podium or not, he's not finishing in the top 10 at Road America if he has a 15% restriction.
I agree.
That track is all straightaways. He can't do it.
Right.
It's not going to happen for him if he doesn't with a 15% restriction.
We have gone 2 races and had the same 2 people on the 1-2. That's Flames and Bryce. So I think that is changing this race, provided that...
Somebody's new is going to get a win here.
Yes.
Or unless it's...
Somebody new's getting a win.
It's Mitch.
Mitch could get a win here. That would still be a...
It'd still be new in Formula FF1.
Yes.
So
Somebody
somebody's getting their
who
first
hasn't
FF1.
won this season is going to win.
Yes.
So basically everybody but Flames.
I think we're going to have a totally different podium. That's what I think.
You don't think you're going to be up there?
Nope.
Confidence.
Confidence.
I am hoping to... I would be happy if I kept my 5% for the rest of the season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be too much of a struggle with a 5% power restriction with how tight the competition is to stay in the top 6 every race from here on. I'm not a top 6 driver in this league.
Apparently you are.
Well,
Because I am.
one race it worked out. We'll see how it works out, but I am pretty stoked for this race. I really do like driving the arena circuit here. This is, to me, way more fun than bridge. Like bridge is kind of fun, how you can do that the bridge turn at full speed,
Full throttle.
but arena is so cool, being able to do that first sector.
The first sector fully pegged.
Yep. Yeah. You know what? The other interesting thing is Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel was
You could take
totally
that nearly-
different.
You could take it nearly full throttle. You gotta slow down for Chapel.
Yeah, I got a downshift for Beckett's.
I keep it in 6, the setup I have.
Do you?
I keep it in 6 and then I have to let off. Little tap of the brake, downshift 2, and then I could get around Chapel just fine.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not just letting off then.
Close enough. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's different than it
Don't
was.
listen to him. He's saying he hasn't driven it all yet.
It is totally different than what it was in a prototype car in Forza 4. You know, I remember driving that sector, and it felt like you were like going to just fall off the road.
About to wreck every single time you get through there. That's what it felt like, yeah.
Yeah, and this one,
The car just sticks.
it does, but you've got to line up that rhythm right. Otherwise, you're
Otherwise,
losing
you gotta
so
slow
much
down.
speed. Yeah, losing so much speed. So we'll see how it works out. Brad, do you have key corners for us here at Silverstone? No?
All of them.
11 through 13. And then 9.
So turn 3 and turn 4, right? So those are the first 2 slow speed corners. It's 4 that always catches me out. It's about like how you carry speed through that corner. You can't shave too much on the exit of it. I remember I was racing against your Ghost, and you had just traction galore out of that turn 4, and I had to figure out a totally different line just to keep up with you out of that. So we'll see how it goes. But turn 4, I think, is a pretty key corner. Another one is Chapel. If you don't maintain high enough speed through there, you're screwed for that whole straight down into Stowe. You know,
Eclipse is fast out of Chapel.
he is really fast.
Out of everybody I've driven with probably 6 people. The dude could fly out of Chapel.
Yeah.
Because I'll be ahead of him, and like we'll be going down the street, all of a sudden he's just like, I'm like, oh my.
Yes.
How did you get going that fast?
Right. What is that? Turn 16 and 17 was at Club and Vale there, right at the last 2 corners. That can be a little tricky, and definitely you can't go too wide. You can't go 2 cars wide through there. You might be able to in Vale, but good luck being able to put down the power more than somebody else through there to try and make it through. We'll see how it goes. I really like the pit lane here though, because it totally avoids everything. You know what I mean? Like you're not in the way on the way out. You don't really have to watch for anybody. You're pretty good, you know.
You're set.
Right. So I'm not too worried about that. Look about 40 seconds that it takes the delta
Actually
there.
not bad.
It's not
because the
terrible.
Nürburgring's like an hour.
Yes, it's forever. Not as bad as Long Beach, where you're a full lap down by the time, only a minute lap, and it takes you like 56 seconds to go through the pits. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting race. You guys have any other predictions for Silverstone?
It's kind of hard to. This series, everybody's so close. It's like R1 2014, like how the top 10 were really close. And you have those guys down below, but in this, everybody's really close.
Yeah.
I mean, Cubitt could be in the top 5 this race for all we know. He probably has it in him. I mean, I've seen tracks where he's pretty quick.
Yeah, it is possible for sure. So I'm interested to see a bounce back from one of the teams, especially like you said, the British German Racing. I think they've Carson's been showing that team has potential, and I think Peter's right there. He's just waiting for the right opportunity. It didn't work out at Catalunya because he acquired some damage before the start, and maybe a little bit unclear about he could have gone through the pits to start his race. But yeah, I think we have some good things to see from them.
Other than that, the schedule for the weekend, qualifying, like always, starts at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We should see Q2 ending about 2:40 Eastern Standard Time. Usually it's a little bit after that.
Yep.
2:50 maybe, 2:45, 2:50.
We're right in
And
there.
then we have like a 10, 15-minute break, probably 20 minutes, until 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the race kicks off and we set the grid and go green.
Indeed. So catch us. We're going to be over on Twitch broadcasting live. The Twitch feed is going to be drastically improved this race. For Long Beach, we had to tune down the Twitch feed just because the buildings were making the capture card go freaking crazy. So in order to not like lose frames and have massive lag, turned it down. Silverstone, it's going to be up.
I'm going to try and work on a
Jet Motorsport.
A jet feed for me. We have a capture card now.
Excellent.
If we see about it.
If we do have that, we'll put that out also.
So you can watch me suck. Yep.
2 perspectives of the race.
2 sucky, lame perspectives.
If you want to follow us on Twitch, that's twitch.tv/Formula Forza. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, we are at Formula Forza, and you can also head over
Instagram.
We do kind of
to share photos of the race. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
we need one. I'll do it.
Indeed.
Brad can do it.
Mr. Practice.
That
needs to be our call sign for that. Mr. Practice. That's your Twitter feed from now on, at Mr. Practice.
That's probably taken. Mr._practice. But another thing, in case you haven't noticed.
Indeed.
Here shortly, you might be able to buy one. We're working on it.
The other thing, it took us maybe 15 minutes before the podcast, but we did convince Derek not to do the top button.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So no, don't do it. You're ruining it now.
All right, whatever.
Yeah.
But soon here, you'll probably be able to order these in whatever color you want, not just black.
Indeed,
as much as Brad hates it, we're wearing black.
we are setting up a merch.
Price is right.
Yes, we're setting up a merch store, and the idea is not to make any money off of it, but for those that have expressed interest in getting a Formula
basically
Forza
everybody
shirt or a hoodie,
basically every driver has. Every driver's like, dude, I want one.
Right. The other thing we're going to look into are like car window stickers. We think we might be able to.
That'd be cool to put on your Xbox. I just thought about that. On
That
a
would be
glass
awesome.
surface on your Xbox.
Yeah, I'd rack them on my car, but
I wouldn't.
I'm talking about the Xbox. I would too.
Yeah,
I
you would.
I'd put it next to my yoga pants sticker.
Right. What? God. All right, guys. Well, until then, we will be live, like I said, on Twitch. Follow us for qualifying, all of it from my perspective. Hopefully, there'll be a jet feed that we can link you to. And then the race at 3 p.m. Should be a very exciting race, I would think. Not so much.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, I think it's going to be close action. Silverstone is always really close
Silverstone's
racing.
a circuit you really keep calm at while you're driving, though, too.
Yes,
You
keep
can kinda
calm
just-
and carry on.
Because it's in England.
And go.
Because it's in England.
It's not. I mean, maybe when you're traffic, it's a bit hard, but it's not like Long Beach where every lap you're like,
Right.
am I going to make it around this corner? Oh my God, what am I going to do?
Where everybody tried to keep distance from each other, so it ended up being an exciting race from the standpoint of nobody knew where anybody else was going to finish. But
This is going to be a good race to watch for the driving action.
I think
as
so.
opposed to just the wrecking and the strategy.
right.
Watch Brad, is what we're saying.
Are you saying let's put the capture card? We could put the capture card on my Xbox, but the only issue with that is I might wreck, and then you only get to see like 10 minutes of the race.
That's a good point. You should probably run it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Sunday.
Adios.
All right.
We would seriously just have the most horrific train wreck of a podcast ever.
Right as we got the sweet ass shirts, and we gotta have a freaking train wreck of a podcast.
Right?
I think it was good.
Hold on, dude. Give me a good confidence face. That's going on the Facebook page. Brad's looking up dog memes while we're trying to do a podcast.
For the love of God.
Brad, stop!
Read it.
Wow. Dog memes.
We went from quite literally a suit to a polo with a ball cap on.
America. It is 4th of
Now
July.
we're all wearing the
It
same
is the week
polo.
of 4th of July, so America.
It's true. It's true, and it's baseball.
So
But
it's,
the 4th of July was last Friday. That was last week.
that was totally like 3 days ago.
And
Doesn't
we're going
matter.
to Britain. Are you anti-British?
Me?
Yeah.
We need to save this. We need to save it, because that needs to happen.
What, in the podcast?
I'm
Yes.
anti James Hall.
Jesus!
Whoa!
Coming for you.
Wait. That wasn't his I'm angry with you face. That was his rape face. He's like, I'm coming for you. No.
James is ready.
Ladies, I'm coming for you. And we've killed Derek.
Not to be
I
rude.
give up.
Not
This
to
is
be
stupid.
Not to be rude.
I'm going home.
Not to be rude. I'd like to get this over with. I have
Are you f***ing kidding me?
It's not gonna happen now that I'm going home.
I have much
shows up
needed. I need
40
Xbox.
minutes late.
Shut up. I was setting up Wi-Fi so I could play Xbox.
All right. Let's do
I'm gonna go home and play hella FIFA, not Forza.
Let me make sure. There goes all chance of normalization.
Normal. Social.
SoCal.
Oh, spelled wrong. Social GP. On Facebook.
That's not social either.
It's close. It's missing an I.
SoCal. I'm sorry.
You should have capitalized the C.
Kid shows up half an hour late and
45
spends 10
minutes. 45. What time is it now?
It's 7 something.
Where that my freaking
Is it underneath?
sheet went to like the land of Oz.